Hey guys, it's Dr. Cardinal here, and today I want to show you a little bit of my core warm-up that I like to do. This is a great warm-up for Olympic weightlifting, any of the powerlifting exercises, CrossFit, stuff like that. The reason that I want to kind of do this today is I've had a lot of patients that come up to me and they say, you know, I get up in the morning, my back's really sore, get to the gym and I throw one of these on and it fixes the problem. And belts are great. I obviously have a nice belt that, you know, I always have with me for days that I'm going to be lifting heavier. But the problem with using a belt to quote unquote bandage or eliminate the pain in your low back is that you are actually using the belt as a supportive structure that is taking the place of your core. And if you do have a technical breakdown during a deadlift, a clean, or squat, or something of that nature, using a belt as an improper support structure will actually lead to having a more severe injury. So belts are great. If you're going to use a belt, brace out and into it. Don't put it so tight that it's causing a compression of the stomach, which is going to lead to a break point and a flexion injury. But if you know how to activate your core properly, that's like using the body's natural belt. And so we have the internal and external obliques, rectus abdominis, transverse abdominis, paraspinals, quadratus lumborum, and the psoas that are all functioning to help stabilize our core. And so you shouldn't need to use a belt on the daily, and you shouldn't need to use a belt to eliminate pain. It should be something that increases your maximum load capacity, but proper core activation will be a way that eliminates pain and increases your basic working capacity before you need to use a belt. So when I do my warm-up, I like to do it in such a manner that I don't feel like I've completely burned out my core by the end of it. So how does that work? I do a few rounds of different exercises with different goals in mind. So if we look at the core, we have our diaphragm, our pelvic floor, and then obviously the walls. So on either end of our core, we have ball and socket joints, which means that my shoulders are meant to move, my hips are meant to move, and my core is meant to transfer power between the legs and hips to the upper body. That's how the throwing motion works. If we didn't have a strong core, we wouldn't be able to throw very hard. So first exercise I like to do, nice and simple, and you don't need to have anything special to do this, is just a dead bug. So I am gonna fix this a little bit here. I feel like Smashworks here. Moving cameras, man. I'm gonna get into a 90-90 position here, and I'm keeping my back flat into the ground using my core. So I'm gonna just work on breathing in and out, using my diaphragm to breathe, keeping my core contracted throughout that motion. It's very important that we can talk, breathe, and everything with our core engaged. So the next thing we're gonna do is I'm going to drop my arm and my opposite leg. Note my stomach isn't arching like this. I'm keeping my core engaged the whole time and allowing my ball and socket joints to move through full range of motion without having to use my low back as a functional hip to get that extra extension or flexion. So again, don't let your hips get out of working, let the low back stay nice and flat into the ground, and use the ball and socket joints what they're meant for. Next exercise I like to do, super simple one, just the McGill curl up. So I'm going to put my hand under the flat of my back, and then opposite arm, opposite leg, and all I'm doing is just creating a cross body pattern, similar to the dead bug, but this is a little easier. I'm just lifting my shoulder blades off the ground and my opposite foot about a foot off the ground. So it's going to look like this. And down, and down. So with the McGill curl up, we do allow for a little more lumbar extension off the ground because our hands there protecting it. So those two are what I do in my first round, just kind of get things going. Next thing I like to do is just a basic plank, but one thing we need to remember on the plank is we want to be pulling the ground together beneath us. So that way our pelvis is actually coming flush, our rib flare is coming down, and we're using our core to completely, compress the anterior compartment of our body. So when you get down in your plank, get your elbows out here. So I'm going to flex my butt and then pull my elbows down towards my feet. And in that manner, we're actually getting everything to work instead of just using our joints to support the body. So again, here, come down, pull. And so if you do a proper plank where you're pulling everything together, you're not going to hold that for a few minutes. You're going to do that for 20 or 30 seconds. Your body will start actually burning and shaking where your core is working. Whereas if you're just doing a typical plank, which kind of one of these, I can hold this for as long as I want because my joints are supporting it, not the musculature. So the next thing, this one's probably the most important, because if you're doing dead bugs, if you're doing McGill curl-ups, you're already really warming up the anterior part of your body. But to get the obliques, side planks are my favorite, or like a walking suitcase kind of carry. One thing we see a lot done, I'm not gonna say improperly, but it's not optimal on a side plank, is you see people's butt kind of kick out. So when they get down, they're kind of like this on their side plank. So what we want to do is we want to get our feet staggered. So my feet are staggered, one in front of the other. When I lift up, I actually rotate my bottom hip forward using my glutes, and then I pull my hips towards the ceiling. And so when I do this, I come up here, rotate under, and lift like that. Now my body's in a straight line, and I'm actually engaging all of my obliques and also my glutes. If you're going to be squatting, if you're going to be deadlifting, you're never going to be in a position where you're creating rotational torque or lateral torque. That's a great way to lead to injury. So don't train your core to allow for that mistake. So simple way to do it. You don't need any extra equipment. Dead bug, McGill curl up, front and side plank. Couple rounds of that, do each for 30 seconds. Your core will be activated and you will feel a super stiffness of your core that allows you to lift more in a pain-free manner without needing one of these. Have a belt on hand for your heavy stuff, but do as much work as you can with your natural body's ability to support weight, and you'll get much stronger, much healthier, and have way less pain in the long run.